Okay, we'll learn for a few minutes. Good Chodesh, everyone. We have some sponsorships. So today, Chodesh Shvat, a new month. Shenishma Besoros Tovos, Be'ezir Hashem. Leilui Nishmas. The month is Leilui Nishmas Levi ben Yosef and Leilui Nishmas Bas Yefeger Bas Yisrael, and by the Pollock family, Leilui Nishmas Shimon ben Moshe, Tzvi ben Mordechai, and Shia Rachma Bas Rav Alter Nasanata. All the Yetzers that are in the month of Shvat, Tehei Nishmasam Tzura B'Tzura Chaim. This week is sponsored by Kevin and Sharon Ross, in memory of Zalman ben Avram David, Barry ben Avram David, Jerry ben Avram David, Peter ben Avram David. Leilui Nishmasam. In the Deutsch family, in memory of Miriam's Abba Menachem and Shmuel Eliezer, and Sarah and Baruch Gold, Leilui Nishmas Tchia Shirel Shimona, and for the refuah of Pesha Malka Bas Blima. All right, we have a sweet, short piece today from Reb Usher. On the bottom of Daf Chavtes, if you have the Sefer. The letter that was written to Reb Usher, this is from November 1975. October or November 1975, right? Because Tafshin Lamed Vav is already the end of that year of 75, going to 76, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works, not 77, 75, right? So, the letter must have been someone that wanted Reb Usher's bracha to print Rebbe Nachman's Sfarim, or to work on Rebbe Nachman's Sfarim. In the intro to Reb Usher's life, we spoke about his relationship to Rebbe Nachman and to Breslov Bichlal. So there must be, again, we always are assuming based on the answer what the letter was. We don't have the letters to him, we have the responses back. Chevra, we have more, do we have more pages? Or they're all done? Oh, a sefer, okay.
Yeah, so I'll just take a picture.
No, take a sefer. Even better to buy them. I forgot who was Dov, back to Dov. Find out from him, just grab a sefer. Commitment issue. That's a... That is my problem, actually, but all of us should be committed to Kedushah, b'tahara, b'simcha, b'ezir Hashem. So it must be that he was writing, he had thoughts about writing either writing a sefer about Rebbe Nachman or printing Rebbe Nachman's Sfarim. It seems to me it must be printing Rebbe Nachman's Sfarim because it's 1975. This is back then. It wasn't nothing nearly to what it was today. Emmanuel, regards from whoever I saw on Shabbos. I'm sorry, I forgot. It came up to me. Whoever it is, nice guy. אני מאחל לך שהשם יסבורך יאיר לך את הדרך להוציא מחשבתך לפועל בחיבור הכסיבה סיפורי המעשיות של מורנו רבי נחמן זצ"ל, but it's either, again, writing about סיפורי מעשיות or printing סיפורי מעשיות. Whichever one, doesn't matter. But he's giving a bracha, the light should be clear and it should all work. But he says a very interesting thing here. Sodos gdolim kmusim besalcham. There are tremendous secrets that are filled within every one of the stories. Just as a show of hands here. Whoever really got into one of Rebbe Nachman's stories?
Try.
Yeah.
I try.
I try also. It's not pashut at all. I've tried. Also. It's the highest, huh? It's not going to help us understand anything. That'll make us...
more confusing.
Exactly.
Ravari Kaplan's is really like...
Today there's a lot of different perush, like a lot of different stuff going on. It's sodos kemusim. It's secrets. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. So he's embarking on this thing, and Reb Usher is just telling him, you're not reading a little tale here. This is like sodot gdolim kemusim by him. There's a lot of wondrous secrets that are filled with him. Kol inyanam haya latet la'adam etzos niflos eich le'agia lebitul ha'emes ve'amuchlat. And their whole thing was to give a person wonderful pieces of advice how to reach a place of total and absolute bitul. That's how Reb Usher is saying is what's waiting for you when you tune into Rebbe Nachman. Bitul muchlat, which is really the theme of this sefer that we're learning. That through him a person will merit to true connection and Deveikus with the Ribbon Shleilim. How? Derech tikun midosav kol echad lefum dargei ulefimad meshoyer belibe. Each person through fixing their own midos, each person in accordance to where they're holding and to where their heart is. V'Torah, next page. V'Torah, and Rebbe Nachman's Torah, Hayesol l'Torah's Netzach, is a Torah of eternity. Kedei lahavi et ha'adam el tachlito ha'amitit shel etzem briasa. In order to bring a person to his true purpose of why he's in this world, kedei shetivotze bechina emunah peshutah ba'olam, so that something he could help be the cause of the next trend, but it's not going to be a trend that ever ends. And what's that trend that never ends? Emunah peshutah in the world. So again, what is Reb Usher saying about Rebbe Nachman's Torah? He's referencing here Sipur Maisius, but he's saying over here that Rebbe Nachman's Torah gives a person the advice that he needs to reach the state of total Bitul, which then brings you to a place of hiskashrus and Deveikus with Hashem. It's not just that I read this and now I feel something, but it brings you to the place of knowing how to work on my midos. Each person where they're in accordance to where they're holding. And I think that's one of the most wondrous things about Rabbeinu HaKodesh's Torah, is that it speaks to every type of person, who no matter, regardless of where they're holding, that each person hears a few lines from Rebbe Nachman, and he says, I could work, if he really listens with Bitul, he says, I could really work on that midah now. That's the wondrous thing about Rebbe Nachman's Torah. Reb Chaim Kramer always says, bring me any sefer that has to do with Rebbe Nachman, open it up, and you'll see that there's another opportunity here to feel close to Hashem. Every single sefer. And Reb Usher is saying this in 1970, what did we say? 1975. So you open up a sefer of the Rebbe, Reb Usher is saying, you start to see, I can work on my midos through this. In the exact spot that I'm in right now. I don't have to become someone in order to start being engaged in Rebbe Nachman's Torah. I just show up, and the Torah of the Tzaddik is basically saying to me, I've been waiting for you. Yes.
I want to add something, just context, that maybe it's even more intense being that it's 1975, but when I came to Eretz Yisrael and in the 90s, and then it was still biggest nagdas towards being Breslov. Like it was, if you said you're Breslov, it was like a chesaron, like a lack, a bezoin, a little bit. And one Rav even said to me that, I asked him, I said, what about the Bitul of Chabad? He said, Breslov don't have a problem with Bitul, just say you're a Breslover. That's how people used to talk. And now it's trending, it's popular, it's a godless, but it was, and it must have been even more by 1975 to encourage Breslov learning and pushing it. And it wasn't like popular, it wasn't going to get you a sponsor or anything.
No, the opposite. The opposite.
But once he said that about that, it gives you the ability to spread forth.
Right. So that's what I'm repeating now. I just want to repeat again exactly that point. And he says the Rebbe's Torah is a Torah of eternity that brings a person to understand why Hashem even created him. That's what the Torah of Rebbe Nachman does. It brings you the opportunity to discover why the Ribono Shel Olam even created you. And what Zev is pointing out is very good at the end over here, in order, look at that last line again, and that's why it's so important, chevra, that you get the Sfarim that we buy. Just when we buy them and we bring them here, just get them, because you have to look at these words inside. Kedei shetivatzer. Tivatzer means that in order that something will be created. Bechinas emunah peshutah ba'olam. So that emunah peshutah is created in the world. Zotomer, that vibe comes up and is created in the whole world. You put that energy in, and then people that are walking around with the Rebbe's Eitzes are spewing emunah peshutah in the world. So therefore, how do you know, this would be an interesting thing, how do you know if you're hanging out with someone that's really plugged into Rebbe Nachman or someone that's leeching on or whatever? If you walk away from talking to someone about Rebbe Nachman's Torahs, and somehow they make you feel stupid afterwards, or that you're not holding, yesh po ba'aya with the iskashrus to the tzaddik. Because the tzaddik, his Torah is meant for you to feel that yesh lecha achshav hazmana, that you have an invitation to come inside right now. You understand the difference? This is a very important, because the point was, kedei shetivotzer bechinas Emunah peshutah ba'olam. simple faith in the world, that we walk around, and beaming off of us is the vibe of Emunah Peshutah. And he says, like, okay, so doesn't this seem like something you want to be part of? Of course. But Reb Usher gives a certain, not a criteria, but he gives a hachvana. This is very, very beautiful. You want to go into this orchard? En baya. Just understand something. Now this is what's like, makes it almost impossible. He says, you have to remove from yourself any garment or any achiza means I'm holding. All the I'm holding here.
I know this.
I know this already. Oh, he's saying this, that means that. And I understand what he's saying. Kedei levarer me'etzem chiyusom mitzius haboire bivchinas mibsari echze eloika. Because the point over here is that at the end of the day of my engagement with the tzaddik, I don't turn to someone else and saying, by him, or by that shul, or that beis medrash, is the only emes in the world. It's to focus a person to go inside to the point he says, mi besari echze eloka. That from my own flesh, from what's going on within my story, what's going on with my life, my marriage, my relationship with my children, my history that I'm still trying to blot out of my mind. From my story, I gaze at the Ribbono Shel Olam. That is the ultimate purpose. And that's why Rebbe Nachman warned from saying, like that's why there are no Rebbes in Breslov. That's why there's no Inyan over there to machtir the tzaddik. He's the tzaddik Yesod Olam. And if you ask the Ehrlich of Breslovers, they'll always go back and say there was one tzaddik Yesod Olam, and there was one tzaddik Emes, and that was the Nachal Neveh Mekor Chochma. And from then on, the whole avodah is mibsari echze eloika, that in my flesh, in my story, that's why Rabbi Yaakov's Sefer, The Story of Our Lives, is a very important Sefer. He shared with me yesterday that, he shared with me a very beautiful text about that Sefer. It's for me that I see it in my life. That's the eitzes of the tzaddik are to go inward and not to see, who lives like that? It's like, wait, how could I live like this? And that's why Reb Usher says, but to see it, you have to mafshit all the levushim and all the achiza. Get rid of all the I'm holdings. I'm here, I know this, I know that sugya. I could compare the way the Rebbe speaks about it to the way the Zidichover speaks about it, or the Lubliner. Bichlal, nothing like that. Ve'yir'ad, and this will cause a person, this is unbelievable. Ve'yir'ad ve'yifchad min ha-sakana ha'ofefes es ha'adam tadir. When you're plugged into the tzaddik's Torahs, you're petrified from the danger that's always surrounding us to disconnect us from discovering what the Ribbono Shel Olam had in mind when he created me. Zot omeret like this. I'm trying to think of it in different words. Let's really zone in here. I'm talking to myself. Most of us are okay with going about our days not discovering what the Ribbono Shel Olam had in mind when he created me. Is that fair to say? It's like, we're okay if we just have a decent day that didn't involve that much Lashon Hara. Hopefully Tikkun Abris was intact. You know what I mean? We're okay with if we just get by, right? Once you taste from the orchard of the tzaddik, you become obsessed with trying to discover, why did you create me, the Ribbono Shel Olam? Why did you create me? What did you have in mind when you created me? This becomes our obsession. So he's saying, Reb Usher is saying over here that the Rebbe's Torahs bring you to a place that you can't stomach going about life, not working on that. And then you become more sensitive to realities, friendships, things, circles of whatever that take you away from that. That makes you feel like you're in Gehenna. Like the relationships that you have in life that are a mechitza over those things, over those dire questions that we want to know so badly. You can't take it anymore. You still love them, but you can't take it. You can't be around a metzius, a reality that disconnects you from asking those questions and working on it. You can't. That's what he's saying over here, I think. V'yirad, again, in the fourth line over here, V'yirad v'yifchad min ha-sakana ha'ofefes es ha'adam tadir. And this danger that's always hovering over a person tries to kedei lehachshilo ulenatko min ha'emunah. This danger is always there in the air that's trying to do everything that it can to stumble him and to disconnect him from faith, from having emunah. Ki yitzvil shel adam oise melachtei be'emunah. Umimenu nikach la'avod zabayre be'osa akshonus ulechima matmedes. Reb Usher says, a person will eventually come to ask the question, why, Hashem Yisbarach, if you want me so badly to be connected to you and think about you all the time, why'd you give me this Yetzer that's constantly working so hard to disconnect me from what you want? Valid Shaila. Reb Usher is saying that Rebbe Nachman is whispering back to you, because I want you to learn how to be a consistent, persistent, annoying Yetzer, like the Yetzer Hara is. I want you to take that koyach of hatmada and flip it back. This happened to me when Kobe died in the helicopter crash. I already had everyone's attention. I wasn't saying that for attention. I'm being honest, because I'll tell you what it was.
Which Kobe? Kobe Bryant.
Rock years. It's okay. Kobe, you were under the rock then. Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered if I was under the rock.
The point, I'm not trying to make a joke out of this. I'm saying like this. Why was he such a? How did he? What was the Indian? Just because he was good in sports when he died in that helicopter crash with his daughter Nevach and other people on board. I remember there was this tumult in the air. People were walking around for weeks. I mean, you're not an example. You were living in the base medrash of the bleacher report. That's the mecca of it. But I'm saying even people that weren't working for the Bleacher Report or Sports Illustrated, it was a hashpa, right? So a yid always has to ask, what am I supposed to be learning from this? What is the inyan over here? And I thought about this is because his work ethic was uncomparable to anybody. Anyone in sports, his work ethic. So what's the avodah? The avodah is, okay, what's my work ethic when it comes to this thing that's disconnecting me from the Rebbe Nachman? The dark side is like lahav, not lahav, I don't know, whatever. It's like Kobe. It's constantly working on what? Like with utmost mesiras nefesh, machshil mi lunatic, to disconnect me from one simple inyan, Emunah Peshutah. The whole day. Okay, I go into a minyan, I'll go to a shiur, I have a few minutes of hopefully a shiur from that. But generally speaking, there's a constant koach that's pulling me away from it. Reb Usher is saying a person that tastes the pardes of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rebbe Nachman, he will then be able to call out the purpose of the Yetzer Hara and say, this menuvel, this bastard is so persistent. That's the only thing I have to learn from it. I grab that koach of tmidus, of persistency, and stubbornness. I flip that over. It's shaykh to these parshas. In Chassidus it says like this. The way that we are called is an am kshei oiref, stiff-necked people. And it's true, but it could work either way. You could be an am kshei oiref that's so stubborn in your ways and you want to stay in Mitzrayim your whole life. Or you could be so stubborn and say, Ribono Shel Olam, do what you want to do. We're never leaving you no matter what. No matter what. That's what I have to learn from this. The Torah of the Tzaddik gives us the tools how to strip away the weapon from the other side and use it on our side. That's what Reb Usher, that's what I'm getting from Reb Usher saying over here. That's why he says, again, umimenu nikach. We'll take from him. What will we take from him? Lavo de sabore be'oisa akshonos ulechim matmedes kedei shelo nipol min hapach el hapachas. So that we don't fall even lower and lower. Tzrichim lichios beneshima achas. You have to live in one long breath. Kol haholada shel pachad hateva. Wow. Everything that comes out from the fear of nature, which means natural fears and anxieties and stresses that all of us have just by being in this world. Lehopcha, to flip it over, lemitzius pachad haboire v'kach bechol amidas. What are you anxious about? Ask yourself. See if it's the Yetzer hara that's causing you that anxiety. And I'm not getting here into like more severe medical conditions. Everyone knows we're living in an era that we're more aware of these things, and certain people need different types of help. But the general person, the standard person that's living in this world, he's filled with stresses and anxieties all the time. Reb Usher is saying the Rebbe's Torah give you the opportunity to decipher whether to see, what could I learn from this right now? What should be causing me stress and anxiety? So Reb Usher is saying, what should cause you stress and anxiety? If you're not paying attention to the questions that Rebbe Nachman makes you think about. Did you look at the sky today? Did you think about why Hashem put you in this world? What's causing me to not think about these things? And then be freaked out by realizing that I could be stuck in some kind of mitzias, in some kind of chevra, or in some kind of chatterbox mind game that's going on all day long that's not letting me ask these questions. And to flip it over and have stress and anxiety only over those questions. Am I living a life that I really want to live once I hear the Rebbe's Torahs? Next, next column. Zeu bechinas Deveikus. Just a few more minutes. Deveikus. What does it mean to live in a state of Deveikus? You should all know that kaf means that these Torahs are the most essential Torahs of our life. Hamevin yavin. Those that know. Bemet. You haven't been in here in a while. That kaf was meant for now. Refuah shlema. Or not. I don't know. Chas v'shalom. Zeu b'chinas Deveikus, shetamid margish b'sakanasai v'tzoyek el Hashem me'omek halev. Deveikus means that, it's funny, you think Deveikus means Velidu shalayim, sitting around Deveikus, right? Tartei mashma, that was Deveikus also, that was their niggin, right? You think, just like an everlasting, oh, come, let's learn some Reb Nachman. Deveikus, no. Deveikus is, he says, that you always are aware of the clear and present danger of what? Being disconnected for why you're in this world. V'tzoyak el Hashem me'omek halev. You're screaming to Hashem from the depth of your heart. I saw this yid yesterday. I thought I'd have a few minutes before Baruch's funeral to go and do his body close to where Tommy Lee is. But a few tzaddikim ruined it for me because they went to go and dig the grave, and Baruch's 4 down from Tom. So when I got there, I had like a minute, and then the chevra came in, real avodas hakodesh. So I walked back up from the outer shvil. There's no way I can go inside anywhere there. So I go outside the outer shvil. I don't know if you guys noticed this, there was this Breslover standing by a certain kever, smack in the middle of the Beis Olam in Kfar Tzion. I see him screaming, davening, Deveikus nara. So I put on my glasses to see who is he davening by. So this was in 2007, most of you weren't here, there was a tzaddik from Bat Ayin who was doing his boydedus 200 meters outside the yeshuv. His name was Erez Levanon. Some of you heard of him. He was a musician. Beautiful Torahs. Beautiful nigunim. It's a teacher. He was killed doing his boydedus. Lived in Bat Ayin. And it was over his kever. I couldn't tell. I have to check today. I assume the Yetzer around now. And I was looking at him in such a state, this chassid was such a state of Deveikus, about 20 years later. And he was connecting to a chaver that his nigunim were me'orer, a yid to live in the right type of sakana, not the wrong type of sakana. The right type of danger to live in is being aware and conscious of what is disconnecting me from all the things we spoke about. And Reb Usher is saying this is what the ikar of the Torah of the tzaddik is. And when you go to this place of Deveikus, where you always feel that you're in danger if you're not asking these questions, and you're screaming out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu me'omek halev, az hu b'fchinas tefillah, 3rd line. Then you reach a place called davening. That's what davening is. Shehu lashon chibur im habayra yizbarach. This is a lashon of connection with the Ribono Shel Olam. This is a whole Torah on the word tefillah, litpalpel. Where you reach this state, you reach a state of ketinok al shdei imo she'eno choseh davar. When a child is being nursed by his mother, nothing is lacking. Nothing is lacking for the kid and also for the mother. That's a whole other sugya. Vegam eno ba li'edei yohara. So it's easy to say this about a kid, a baby that's nursing. What does it mean he doesn't come to yohara? Yohara is haughtiness. You don't reach a state of haughtiness when you say, I'm not lacking anything. Sometimes we say, I have everything. That could sound haughty. But when you're consciously aware that you're receiving something from the Rebbe Olam, and you say, I'm not lacking anything, you don't come to a state of haughtiness.
So fully dependent.
Betach, fully.
Fully. If we recognize how dependent we are on Hashem, we would not...
Fully dependent. Meaning the chashash is that sometimes people can say, oh man, I have everything. That can stink from haughtiness if it's not in the context of that it's coming from this, right? That this type of chibur leads me to say, wow, Ribono Shel Olam, I want to feel that when I'm receiving life from you, I feel like I'm lacking nothing and I am the richest person in the world. No yohara, no haughtiness comes up from a statement like that. Who wouldn't do anything in the world to live like that for one day? For one day to live like this. Do anything. The tzaddik says, why one day? This could be your life. This could be your whole mitzvahs. But what's the prerequisite? The prerequisite is be aware of that which takes you away from feeling like this. That's the whole zach. The whole zach is just be aware of what takes you away from this geschmack, shlemus dika feeling of Deveikus and living in a state of tefillah. Just to end this line over here, I should have done one more line. The baby knows the whole source of his existence, of his life in the world, is coming from his mother. So he says over here, that's really what Emunah is. Kach hi bechinas ha'emunah. She'ha'adam tzarich le'agia b'derech halichos chayav b'chol inyanav. Through whatever path you embark on in life, whatever your profession is, whatever your lifestyle is, how many children you have or don't have yet, or whatever your mommy and daddy issues are, were, or will be. There's no escaping this maze that leads you to a place of ki mecha ki manachnu lach. Nothing escapes it. And when you realize that, and you're mevutal to this, and you're letting go of all your achizas, which he said in the beginning, all the I'm holding here, only then, ve'az ashrei lei ve'ashrei chelkai. Then that's where simcha comes in. Ki zocha liros olamoy bechayav. That you were privileged to see, this is a very fascinating statement, your world in your life. What does that mean, olamai? We've seen this other places. That you see your world while you're still alive. When do most of us see what our world is really about? 120 years, only after you're 120. The whole chap is to not wait for them to like remove a blindfold and say, this is what it was all about. Right? The whole point is to actually, you say, I'm not waiting till I'm 120 to remove that thing. I'm doing it now. I'm taking it off now, the blindfold. And as painful as it may be, because when I take off that blindfold, I notice all these things that are mafriya, that are actually getting in the way. And it's painful, but it's so worthwhile. B'chayav.
Removing that, if only I would have lived this way from the deathbed.
That's removed. Mikerev, didn't you write emails like this to your friends? And then he ends off, Mikerev lev, ani sholach lachem et birchosi ha'ne'emana. From the depth of my heart, I'm sending you my faithful bracha, that you should work on these Torahs from Tzipori Maasiyos. Brius tova v'atzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yedeichem v'niske lishmoa mimkem b'soros tovos v'imala Hashem yisborach kol mishal slipchum teva amen ken yiratzon. I said, wouldn't you like to receive letters like this? Well, we just did. We probably invested more in Reb Usher's response than the Yid that got the letter. Maybe. I don't know. Ashrei Chelkeinu. It should be a beautiful, this letter type of month. Roots, Shvat, roots, Tu B'Shvat, roots. Going deep down inside. Shkoyach.